morning, Rabbi.
Good morning.
I was just saying, my son had a boy.
Oh, my God.
Thank you, my son Rob. I say the first child I was in the hospital, first grandchild I was in the hospital. This time my wife didn't even want to wake me up.
No,
I get up in the middle of the night and go, what did they have?
that's the best part. There's certain good things about getting old. You have to do the stuff that you never wanted to do anymore.
Yeah, in the hospital, definitely one of them.
By the way, during COVID, my wife, my daughter gave birth, she became a doula.
Your wife became a doula?
Doula. This way she could go. Yes, you become a doula. So you cost me, I don't know, $1,500 for the course, and just for you to
For the grandson.
Aaron Cohen's wife is Felicia.
Yes, she did it with Felicia. Yes,
Felicia's the doula.
Maybe she taught her or something. I don't know.
Yeah. No, Felicia's been a few years.
Yeah. My wife, it's already like 3 years. COVID.
No, she's been longer than that, Felicia. Oh, you probably seen him in Florida. He's there all the time, Aaron.
I see him.
Place.
He's in the Spiaggia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's is that what Mars City is?
Yeah. It's funny. I looked in that building, and my wife tells me no. She goes, I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to walk into the lobby. I don't have to say hello to anybody. I don't want.
No, but this is
she's right.
But this is also part of maturity. Vacation means you want.
She goes, I don't want to say hello. I don't want to. I just want to walk in, go to my apartment, go downstairs,
They're building a big shul there now.
Let's see what they build. It's a $30 million project. They want to build a whole thing, a school.
Oh, by the way, I saw this whole thing that they got approval. What's his name? Kushner got approval.
Did he get
in Surfside?
Yeah,
he got approval yesterday or the day before.
He got it? Okay,
yes.
So that lot, it's funny, that lot was approved already.
Yeah.
We're going to build a religious hotel. Separate swim. This was before COVID. And I don't know what happened. The guy, after he got the approvals, he sold the land to Kushner.
Mm-hmm. Charlie.
So Kushner now is building condos.
Yeah, with the shul. He said they're building a shul there also.
Maybe they're putting for that, but it's a big land. It's a big property.
It's a huge property.
So
they don't call it a thing. It's a whole complex.
Yeah, but on that side of the street, you can't build more than 4 stories. It's a very. It's funny, Rabbi. The zoning in Surfside is very strict. You can only build on the ocean 12 stories. Across the street 4. They told me the state of Florida wants to overrule the county because the higher they build, the more income that they.
Of course.
You know.
Yeah.
So, by Makat Harbe, look a second on page 340. ויאמרו עבדי פרעה אליו, עד מתי יהיה זה לנו למוקש? שלח את האנשים ויעבדו את השם אלוהים. I mean, they realize, הטרם תדע כי עבדה מצרים. Aren't you aware that the city, the state is going to be destroyed? See, look a second at the beginning of the parasha.
Can we tell that to Biden? The southern border.
But look a second in Pasuk Bet. Pasuk Bet first. ולמען תספר באוזני בנך ובן בנך את אשר התעללתי במצרים. If you are tuned into, biblical languages, the word להתעלל, yes?
That's to play with.
I made a mockery of Egypt. Says the Khatam Sofer, look, before the famine, Egypt was a country. Right? The famine made Egypt the most powerful country. Superpower. Everyone has to come, all the money of the world. Now the Jews are coming and slowly they are realize the country is being diminished.
Demolished.
But this is how we let us try to allow. Says, aren't you aware that it's not only we are being and Paro is okay, ויושב את משה ואת אהרון אל פרעה ויאמר עליהם לכו את השם מי ומי האורחים who is going בנערינו בזקנינו נלך ובנינו בבנותינו בצאנינו בבקרינו בכד השם. You realize that Moshe answers is our children are first. Paro, of course, look at Paro Pasuk Yud. ויאמר עליהם, יהי כן השם עמכם כאשר שלח אתכם בעת אפכם. No. Your request is you and your children, לא כן. לכו נא הגברים ועבדו את השם כי אותה אתם מבקשים, ויגרש אותם מאת פני פרעה. Paro is a very sophisticated person. Paro says, you can go leave the children with me. The church says, give me your kid till 7, I have him for life. Look carefully. Many feelings, good or bad, start in this age.
Formulate at that age.
Here, the last day of school, I asked one of the teachers, where are you going? He says he's not going on vacation, he's going to be locally. So I told him, why don't you take your kid ice skating in Prospect Park? This is a man, by now he's probably 45. This is good. He says, when I was a kid, I heard that if you go skating and you sleep on the ice, someone might come and here it is. This is a practice.
The blades.
So he cannot take his kids. He says he wants to teach his kids are dying.
Yeah.
His kids are dying to learn how to skate. And this is what he has in his. No, I'm showing you the imprint, what you hear from a young age. This is Paro understands it. This is why Paro says you can go. You and your wife leave the kids.
He's talking about the ladies, but
No, he's not. But
seemingly he would let the ladies go.
He understands because if you leave the ladies and the kids, it isn't. In real life.
But Rabbi, even on a simple Peshat level, he's saying usually kids are a burden. It's hard to travel.
So
with
he's
kids.
saying I want to make it easier.
Right, on a very Peshat level, he's saying, okay, you want to go serve God. The kids, they're going to yell, they're going to scream. That you need a kids program. You need he's basically telling them you're a liar.
The Gemara says in Sanhedrin.
What did he hear? What
He
did
told him
he
who's
hear?
gonna go.
What did Paro hear early that affected his thinking? You were saying like
No, I'm
no,
saying the
no.
opposite.
Paro
Paro
didn't let the
wants
kids
to
go.
win the game by leave the kids
Mold
with
the
me.
kids. You want the kids to
I'm
taste
going to
freedom.
have them for life, no matter what. Paro understands this. The Gemara says in Masechet Sanhedrin, Menashe was one of the worst kings until he made tshuva. Why did he make tshuva? Because the king of Bavel basically was roasting him on fire. But the Gemara says he was in the pot,
That might do it.
and he starts to tell him to all the idols that he believed in. He says this idol nothing. Then he says this is Mavir. The Yerushalmi says it, and Hashem says Zechurani. I remember when my father carried me on his shoulders. This is Chizkiah.
One of the greatest kings that ever.
Right.
Mashiach,
His father. He told me the following pasuk that Batzar lecha u'metzarucha kol hatzarot ha'ele, wherever you are, return to Hashem, and then Menashe makes his move, and he was saved. Fine. All the great commentators ask. Menashe was one of the biggest Talmidei Chachamim. The Gemara says that Ravashi, the Gemara in Brachot says that Ravashi told his students tomorrow they're going to learn about our friend Menashe. Menashe came to him in a dream. Am I your friend? Can you answer the following question?
Where do you break the
Where
bread?
do you make the bracha? Stuff. Anyway, he didn't know, which means Menashe, when he was Menashe, knew how to learn more than Ravashi. So why is he telling? I remember when my father was carrying me, he taught me the pasuk. You know, Kol HaTorah Kula. Answer is the impact is what your father told me. That this is Kukach Amur. Really, the man knows Shas Ba'al Peh. He knows it.
But you always tell us whatever the minhagim that your father did.
Look carefully into yourself. I'm looking at myself. I'm a little older than you. I remember vividly this. Why am I remembering this? This is. It's a gift, but you realize the gift.
Even today in the secular world, even the non-observant people want to go to a seder because they remember their grandfather went to seder. Even they have no observance at all, but they want to be the seder because that's what they remember.
And the question really, the big question, but in the two parashiyot is, if you realize Moshe is really treating Paro like a gentleman, when a negotiate, he's right. Jim is right. Normally the pshat is, you have to treat him with a kavod, regardless.
Yeah.
Even for years, you give them respect.
Paro was much more than Biden. I mean, as good, Paro basically let the Jews in. Anyway you look at it, says the Saba Mislabodka, you gave us your land. We build our lives. We owe you a lot. But believe it or not, I mean, no one knows it because we like to have a picture from a young age. Look a second, and then 344. Right after Makat Choshech, Paro is fed up. ויאמר לו פרעה, לך מעליי, ישמר לך, watch, אל תוסף רעות פניי, כי ביום רעותך פניי תמות. Okay? If you are coming back, I'll kill you. Okay, the truth is, this is why the night of Makat Bechorot, Paro has to chase Moshe. Moshe is not coming back. You want to see me? You can follow me. Okay? Now Moshe delivers by Choshech, yes, the message about Makat Bechorot. Then it says, "Vayetze me'im panav b'chariav." Look a second. You look a second at 348. On top. ואחרי כן אצא, ויצא מעם פרעה בחריף. Look at the pasuk. Right? Presence in a burning anger. How did Moshe show him? Yes? How did Moshe show Paro that he's angry? Believe it or not, the Gemara in Zvachim says one opinion he smacked him.
Wow.
So some say, not physically mamash, it means he says, listen, I can really smack you, but I'm living. Let's see who is going to win. But this is what Bechariah, which means if this is the rules, if you are shaming me in public, yes, if you are shaming me in public, this is
after Choshech, you said?
No.
Where is this piece?
Oh, so Rashi says that the warning about Makat Bechorot, Moshe says right there. Which means I'm not coming back. Let's have the last talk face to face. עכשיו תשמעו דבר מעניין מאוד. Are you aware that the Ramban says, this is Ramban, this is not today's Babas, every person's life and history is hidden somewhere in the Torah. Look at the next pasuk. You can tell. Look at pasuk 348. Someone asked the Ramban, "What is the Rambam?" ויאמר אדוני אל משה, לא ישמע לכם פרעה למען, why? רבות מופתאי בארץ מצרים. Look at the word, רבות is reish, מופתאי is mem, בארץ בית, mem רמב"ם. רמב"ם was בארץ מצרים, רמב"ם בארץ מצרים, פה ממש.
This is before computers?
לא, אבל לחשוב דבר כזה, because the Gra really says it's not only the history of the Jews is hidden somewhere. It says everyone's life somehow. Okay.
Yes.
Rambam.
Rambam,
it's the easiest.
No, but the Chida brings it and he says, no. What did the Rambam do in Egypt? The Rambam came to Egypt, he became the doctor of everyone in Egypt. This is very famous. The Rambam says, when I come home every day after having the hard work in the palace, a line of people are waiting for me outside, which means the Rambam himself, the presence of the Rambam in Egypt was
So that means in his time they knew his greatness already. Based on if there was a
correct,
line, that means it wasn't post.
They saw that something very special.
So what was the history of it? They were against Rambam when he made, this is what
We're talking about the personality of the Rambam.
No, but I'm saying when he was in his
You mean historically?
Historically, yeah.
This was still in Spain.
He was still in Spain when he was being attacked.
Basically, only because he was the
and then he ended up in Mitzrayim.
Until today, I mean, to be honest now, since we are mature adults, until today, the Moreh Nevuchim is the greatest, but Moreh Nevuchim caused many Jews to go down, yes? I can show you if you are a modern teenager who lives across the Hudson, that certain things the Rambam says. This
Does
is
anybody ever teach it? Do you ever have, you ever see anyone teaching it?
in the past. In today, only in certain places in the world.
Rabbi, I
Because
told you I have a rule. Anytime I hear a speech, if the rabbi starts off with
right,
Moreh
he's right.
Nevuchim, you know the speech is going
he's
downhill.
right, he's
Nobody
right.
starts off with the Moreh Nevuchim. If they bring it in a context and they
he's
want to
right.
explain, once
The
they
minute
start
you said the Rambam says
if that's
Moreh
the beginning,
Nevuchim,
then you know where the speech
you
is
know
headed.
the spirit of the spirit.
Might as well get up
No,
and
but
smoke
the
it.
answer is the Rambam knew exactly what he
He
wanted
was
to do.
talking to the people who were more
The
like
name
on
of the book
reformer end.
is the guide.
He was trying to
The
talk to
guide
them.
to the perplexed.
Yeah.
Very often when kids in school, I see it, I face it a million times. What am I supposed to tell the answer to the question? The answer I want to tell him, he would not hear.
Yeah.
I have to tell him something.
Right, so that's what Rambam did.
This is exactly what he did.
He had to talk to
The
that guy.
Rambam is trying to make the Torah more or less make sense to
the masses.
To the
Rabbi,
masses.
we talked about it many times, like when he talks about korbanot in there. Imagine
We
telling a
talk,
guy
yeah.
you kill an animal, the
Right,
goes to
right.
God. No, but okay.
Rabbi Prague, based on what you just said about the Chari Af and seeing the Rambam,
Yes.
so I think that, although I think that what I think about is not important, but in the next Parsha, the Rambam continues to be quoted because of Nevuchim Heim Ba'aretz. So
Yes.
maybe two Parshiot named after him, Rabbi Prague.
What he says the word Nevuchim Hem Ba'aretz, Nevuchim Hem Ba'aretz, Nagar Aleim HaMidbach, it's connected to the Rambam. But look at something very fascinating. It says here, go a second to 346.
46.
You should know that all the real great commentators quote Ramban quotes him very often. If you see,
Harabam?
if you know how to take the Rambam,
Don't they always call him Harav? They call him
No,
Harav.
the Kabbalah, I showed you openly the Rambam himself in Yad HaChazakah says on Korbanot Zechok.
Rabbi Prague,
Yes.
The Ramban kills.
I understand you bring this up, but outside of the Rambam, I would like to see Rab Moshe in the Chumash, maybe or I'd like to see the Rav Aaron in the Chumash. We have Aaron and Moshe. I mean, it gets a little, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to make light of it, but it's a little tough to go with that.
No, okay. This is why we're talking about the Rambam, which is 1140. You know what I mean? I mean, it is called the Grau Vilna. The Grau Vilna was very.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Right.
careful.
Writes openly. This is the Gra. Kol
Right.
echad. I saw it. Okay. I mean, I remember we spoke.
She's a little before
We spoke.
Harabam. 20 years, 30 years.
Oh, that's all. They
Very
work at the
close.
same time.
Look, I told you this was at night. So now since then I found it. I mean, I went to look for it. In 1948, a group of 38 people went to help the community in Gush Etzion. The community was surrounded by Arabs. Unfortunately, on the way, they met an Arab shepherd. And some say we have to shoot him because he's the only one that knows that we are coming. The others say he's an old man. They left him alive, and unfortunately, all of them were killed. At that time, they were buried in a mass grave, each one in a box, and the boxes were not marked. I mean, they had to bury him under condition, when there will be time, we would move them to, now the time is, after the 67 war, time came to move them, who is who, the families. So if you have the book, you have to see it. I found it since then. If you want, I'll go with you pasuk by pasuk. I have children now when I was an adult. Rabbi Levine used to know how to use Goral Agra. No. So now you were a little skeptical, but it's based on the same idea. It's based that somehow. Anyway, two representatives of the parents. One was Daniel Mus or Mao, I forgot the name. Anyway, they were not religious, and they describe how he did it. Remember, they have to take a pasuk, they have to take a box, they have to identify the guy and bury him with the name. Let's say Reuven.
Wow.
Anyway, the first one that they took, Rabbi Levine did whatever he did, the pasuk that came was clearly referring to one by one. They did it 34 times because by 35 they knew when it was number 35.
Sure.
But they bring in the article. I told you, Larry, get the book. No, but the shoresh of the Goral Agra is what I
Is that
just
everything is in the Torah?
was a light.
They did that with Rabbi Feinstein. Where should he go? Not Rabbi Feinstein, Rabbi Shapiro.
If you read the biography of the Yeshiva of the Chafetz Chaim, when World War I broke, the question was, should they travel together and run away wherever to Minsk or split? So the son-in-law says to the Chafetz Chaim, maybe we should make it. And the Chafetz Chaim didn't like to do it. He did it on his own. Yes, the son-in-law, the pasuk that came out was Vayakov Vayachatz es ha'am asher ito l'shte machanot. Then he comes to his father-in-law and he says, I'm happy you made it. This I decided anyway to do it this way.
Wow.
Okay, so
There's another
no,
famous
but this
one.
is written by many.
The Haidah, Rabbi.
People that lived at that time in the Yeshiva.
Who wanted to move the Haidah.
Right, but
They did also,
but remember
they
again,
did the Goral Agra.
it's the
Well,
reason
they
why
came up
people
to
don't
Shira
talk
Ma'ala,
about it is too much.
Shemachti be'omrim li bet Hashem nelech. That's they said that they asked
People
him
don't
to
talk
go to
about it too
Yerushalayim.
much, Larry, is because it's very dangerous, because
Yeah,
the message of
it
people.
It gets very dangerous.
No, because if you remember, Larry is right, in the Babbage today, many people.
Yeah, they put a piece of paper.
Said,
Use the lottery numbers.
no, but you see, it creates every time. It's too serious. It's too serious. You have no idea what people can do with it, and especially if you talk to regular
I
people.
feel that's why we're worried about AI today, artificial intelligence could go haywire also.
You realize they wrote that the
And I feel
biggest threat to the future of the world is the same.
There's no time, nothing, it's just machine.
Okay, look a second.
There once was a study thing by an Israeli philosopher that had program a car to avoid hitting pedestrians. So the car has to decide, is an old lady on the road or a young person on the road? Which pedestrian does it have to hit? What a dilemma.
Look a second on page 356.
So does it say any, what would happen all of a sudden that Paro says, I don't want to see your face anymore? Like, I mean, he should have done this, I don't know, this is, each Makkah took about a month.
Yes,
So we're about 10, 11 months into this process already. Now you finally had enough.
But Choshech, if you give me your over 40, right, Jimmy? Your 50s, Baruch Hashem, you're in 50s, right?
Look at I did 30 twice.
Look carefully. Each kid in every high school, including me and you, is looking for vacation. The minute you're on vacation in the morning, you wake up, so what do you do today? What do you mean? You waited already 6 months for it. Answer is, we are afraid to be alone. Realize? We are afraid to be alone.
I'm not afraid to be alone.
By me, vacation is only to be alone. To be alone, you have friends in your bookcase, sit with them. You know?
I can
Listen. He's asking what happened in Choshech. Paro was sitting alone for 6 days.
Right. So that drove him nuts.
Drive you crazy. I mean, many KGBs or many agents know it. Put someone in
Solitary.
This is exactly because unless you are programmed, you go
Yeah,
crazy.
it's a cruel and unusual punishment. It's the Eighth Amendment. It's a terrible thing.
The coolest.
Not up on the beach in Florida.
Says unless you are on the beach of Florida, this is why.
Say it at 4 o'clock, it's too much shadow on the beach.
Look a second.
Yeah, 4 o'clock,
Look
so
a
much shadow.
second and 356.
Go take a shower. Eat some tehillim and you good.
Look a second and 356, Pasuk 26.
Which
Remember,
is
Moshe
which parak?
Perek Yudbet, Pasuk 26, Yudbet.
Thank you.
Now,
Yes, the Russian.
Moshe is giving them all the details of the Korban Pesach. והיה כי יאמרו עליכם ביניכם, מה העבודה הזאת לכם? Yula is right, this is the question of the Rasha of the ארבע בנים. ואמרתם, Zevach Pesach hu LaHashem shepasach. Okay, so you know, but the best proof that this is the Shelah of the Rasha, he's not asking, he's saying, okay? והיה כי יאמרו עליכם בניכם מה העבודה הזאת ואמרתם זבח פסח הוא להשם אשר פסח ויקוד העם וישתחוו. This is the ban of the Rasha, and the Torah is telling you what he is going to say. מה העבודה ויקוד העם וישתחוו. What are you thanking Hashem for? This is the Rasha. If you go to the end of the parasha, the Shelah of the Chacham, you have. So look at the Rashi a second. Look a second in the Rashi. Rashi says, "Vayikod ha'am." Pasuk Chavzayin. You see on the right side. Vayikod ha'am al besorat ha'geula is A. B. Biat ha'aretz. C. Besorat ha'banim sheyu lahem. So normally you learn they are unaware that this is the Rasha. I mean, Hashem is telling them you're going to have children. We, in retrospect, are saying Chachamim found it. But the deeper pshat is, even if you have a son Rasha, as long as he's talking to you,
you're in the game.
but this is the Besorah, which means we have children. They are not so good, but they are still interested.
What do we say? That's what Yitzhak and Esav. That
Right.
was the main.
This is the omek of Yitzchak of
They
Esav.
wanted to keep him close.
Esav wanted, Yitzchak understood, I have to keep him. I told you many times I cannot say the name, but even though I know the family, there was a very prominent family in Bnei Brak. The oldest son from all, the oldest, came totally not religious. He went to the army at that time, but not religious. Every Friday night, he used to come in when the family is around the table, cigarette, and a transistor. As a kid, I mean, this is my age. Transistor. I mean,
The father would keep quiet.
and the kids wanted to.
The kids, but the father.
The father says, I am the father of the house. This is my house. Shabbat Shalom, how are you? Sit down. Would you like to join us? A year and a half later, the kid came back. And he said, this Shabbat Shalom, please sit with us, broken. He had anger. No matter, makes no difference. And he purposely made sure that he comes when everyone is around. This is my. And when he realized that his father is not, the contrary. No, David. But this is the point of this. This is the point of the story, and this is the pasuk. Now bowing down, Hashem, thank you for telling us we are going to have children.
Kids test you every day, Jimmy, right?
But I read a serious question. You read a lot of stories about. The Syrian community is very like, okay, if you want to work and learn, we're very accepting.
This is
outside, it's like if the boy didn't learn, he's out. So how do you apply what you just said? And this is a philosophy that was around for many years in many places.
Since we spoke about age, 20 years ago, if you grew up in a Lakewood family and you became the black sheep, you're in bad shape.
They didn't look at you.
Today, children of the prominent,
Today, that's today.
and today, okay, so
Things
There's a lot of
What you're talking is hundreds of years they stayed the other way.
yeah, but this is the way you learn. This is what life is about. You learn that this is it.
Parenting today is different than it was 20 years ago, than it was 100 years
The
ago.
kid is a kid. The kid is a kid.
No, the reason I'm saying is that you read the they threw them out, like you said, they
And then
not like
as
us.
father.
Now is
didn't throw them out. I cannot tell you the name. A fellow in the community, his son graduated Flatbush, and he says to me, unfortunately, in college, he got involved in drugs. Anyway, everyone tells us keep him in the house. Half a year later, I met the guy. He said, we shipped him to California. I said, what the? He said, they told us, no, you have to send him away to realize how good the house is. Which means,
there's two schools of
no,
thought.
it's not the two schools. You come to a point that perhaps only if you go away.
I'm not talking about drugs. I'm talking about if the guy didn't want to learn all that. There's a big difference between
Today-
drugs and a guy who wants to just to make a living and not learn.
That's where you're coming
I don't know if it's like that. I think it's more where
It's
they really
rabbi.
go, they go off the dead end.
Today, no. Go off the derech is one. He's talking about the kid. I want a different lifestyle.
Yeah, that's all.
I want today everyone. I mean, you have to know names. It's en baita she'en bomed. No, but
That's the pasuk he used.
So you say there's two separate things. One is the kids, you have cases of kids go off the derek or one,
Yeah,
they
but
just don't wanna learn all day, that's all, they wanna be regular.
It takes a lot of maturity to say fine. But
The key
remember,
thing is-
kids have a sense, kids have the radar to see, is the father faking it or is really
So
accepting
that story,
it?
the kids that must have really saw the father's
This
emet.
is the point. The father was a Rav Chashur Morod, famous speaker. I mean, yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something, because of my father also, when my son moved to Texas, we were like boiling, and the rabbi told us, just keep talking to him, keep talking to
I
him.
have
keep-
no idea.
If you
I
wanna
mean,
go see him.
Unfortunately, the history tells it to you.
And we did, anytime he came,
We have that until
Came back.
the Goya,
Came back.
until we married, then it's like, well, everything changes there. Then that's, I mean,
I had
You wanna
I
just
had a
say,
friend,
"Leave me
I
alone."
had a friend in Colombia, and not in Colombia, right across from Sloan, with
New York Hospital,
New
Cornell.
York, Cornell. And he says, if you can bring me a pizza, fine, so, but I'm bringing the pizza in the box. As I'm going to the hospital, the secretary says, what's that? I said, put it in the box. He said, but this is kosher pizza. Yes. He said, this I would never eat. It is.
Oh.
And they said, never. I
Never
mean,
eat.
when the pizza is not a good pizza, it doesn't smell good. The answer is she has grudge against the upbringing. It is, I'll never eat a kosher pizza. Man, you're kidding yourself. The answer is you're taking revenge on something that you have in your mind. In reality, this is life.
But parenting, 50 years ago, there was a child psychologist called Chaim Ganat.
Chaim Ganat, yes.
And what he said, parents should never tell the children they're bad. I don't approve of what you're doing, but you're not a bad person. There's a big difference in philosophy. We would chastise children, you're bad, you're bad, you're
But
bad.
you
Then
see,
they
but
grow up.
Jimmy is like
People-
our parents, your parents came from that.
Right, my father told me in the old country when they're doing something wrong, you know,
Yeah,
the rabbi
I know,
would tell
I
them,
know.
Jahannam al-Hamra is waiting. You know Jahannam al-Hamra? Not hell. The Hamra, the red part of hell is waiting for you. That's the,
Rabbi Mechman just said it the other day.
you know, in Arabic, Jahannam al-Hamra. Yani, you go deep in the...
But parenting changed, and maybe it's okay, not okay. I was in Talmud to that. And when you were bad, they threw you in the corner, and the teacher would say, Hamor Gadol. And Rama would come in with the hot tea for the teacher, and then everything they both say, Hamor Gadol. Put you in the corner. You didn't want to be in that corner.
My father, Allah Shalom, was my teacher. He was my teacher. The only kid in class that got a smack was me. The secretary of the school was an older man. I spoke to him like a kid. He smacked me in front of the kid. I cannot touch any kid.
Yeah, but you was,
I remember it till today. I remember the day. I remember the face of the secretary because of this smack.
Rabbi, not even that, something else. When we used to come up with an idea that our parents didn't like, they'd smack you and tell you, stupid idea, get out of your head. Today they tell the kid, you know, let me think about it. It could be that now the thing thinks, maybe I have a good idea. You know, it's the worst idea that you ever thought of or heard. And that's what gives,
Fine line.
it gives life to these the craziness that you're seeing today.
A kid in school told me.
My father never called you.
A kid.
No, not stupid.
Never.
No.
Kid in
Got him,
school.
but we got him.
Jimmy, a kid in school told me,
That's
your
stupid.
father
I never called
smacks
you bad
you, it hurts, but in a minute later, you're fine. But the minute you say something derogatory, it stays with you.
So they say, kill me.
This is the difference.
My
Anyway,
father
look at the
never
next pasuk,
called
pasuk
us-
Chavchet.
never
The
classified
other
us.
phrase is
Look at-
being a man, guess that.
My father strict never classified us.
That was all right. Rabbi Bidon, I love the shalom. It's called Behevakasai.
When I was 6 years old, we started with those things.
Look at
Let's
Chavchet.
judge on the lines you said use our kids. Etroga Kushi, Behevakasai.
I never
I
got
told
told
her
you
to
that.
see.
Picky what you are. We had what was it, Yemenite?
Yeah.
Called them a Kushi. Called them a Kushi.
No, it's a Mishnah. It's a Mishnah. It's called a Kushi.
Yeah, but piggy what you are.
Look at
One of the
pasuk
best words.
Chavchet.
The parents, when they teach
You
you.
better- right.
I never got called anything. I just-
Ronnie, one time he read out the scores of a row. Rabbi, you never did this? He said Faham 5, Salem 0. You know, Dayan 2. If they finish, he goes, "This is the stupidest row I ever had." He goes, "This is the stupidest row I ever had."
Look at pasuk Chavchet. Since we
Raise
spoke.
the self-esteem.
Since we spoke about the importance of kids, look at this, Bemet. The next pasuk is for me, for you, for kids, million times.
That's it.
Vayelchu By-
Rabbi Biton, Alav Shalom.
now
I
in
still- we still know the
Perek
Mishnah
Bet,
in Gemara
Pasuk
Baha.
28.
I have it.
קחו ויעשו בני ישראל, כאשר ציווה השם את משה ואהרון כן עשו. You read this pasuk, normally we forget.
It says Asu twice.
Wait, this is
You
eight.
need Cain Sue at the end, obviously.
Remember, this was told to the Jewish people on Rosh Chodesh. You realize we forgot, but if you remember in 348, ויאמר השם אל משה ואל אהרון בארץ מצרים לאמור החודש הזה לכם ראש חודשים.
Yeah.
Then he moves. Go to the Jewish people. So he's telling it to the Jewish people Rosh Chodesh, and the pasuk is saying, "Vayelchu vayasu." They didn't do it till almost 2 weeks later. Look at the very famous Rashi. Look at Rashi, pasuk Chavchet. "Vayelchu vayasu bnei Israel, וכי כבר עשו, ועלו מראש חודש נאמר להם, אלא מכיוון שקיבלו עליהם, מעלה עליהם הכתוב כאילו עשו." Remember, this is the Mechilta, which means
You accept
the
something.
minute you have a firm decision, the Torah says you did it already. Which means you talk to a kid, to an adult, a woman, a man, they tell you, I mean, sometimes people tell you, the answer is forget the past. Are you firmly ready to move ahead? Don't mention.
Look at the
Is this where we get the concept that when you do something for the good, it's counted as if you did it, but Avera doesn't count?
More or less, more or
Is this the
less.
source?
It's part of it, it's part of it, it's part of it. But you hear this, a firm decision, Hashem says, you did it already. You did it already. I mean, for instance, a good example, halachically. A man was told, this is very far, but a man was told by his actors, they're not going to make it for the next month. The next month, should he start Sfirat HaOmer or not? From Chacham, of course.
Yeah, right now you do it.
Right now,
You-
says, "Amar lecha." I know and you know many, I mean,
He's
not
a
that the
doctor, he's
doctor
not a-
doesn't know, right. He's a doctor,
shame.
halacha is halacha. Right now you're alive, right now there is a Pesach comes, you come.
Right.
But the firm decision, which means if you really believe in yourself, what destroys teenagers mainly and us as adults is the guilt on what I did. Forget what you did.
It's also lack of self-confidence. That's part of it.
Obviously,
That's the main thing.
obviously.
The main thing is the lack of
Hoffman says that Rabbi Isaac Sher told me many times, we are human, we are destined to fail. Forget how you fail. Are you ready to start again the engine or not? This is this pursuit. Yes.
Is that the famous, what's his name, the one who did the light bulb?
You
The
want
vice
it?
citizen? And he said, I figured out it don't have to keep going. 1,000 times you failed. He told him, I figured 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb, right? It depends how you look at it.
Edison.
It's how you look at something.
He invented a lot of things.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, but it's how you look at it. You look at it as a failure or you look at it as
There was a famous story that everyone knows. There was a Lubavitcher fellow that came from Russia, and he sat in jail many times. He never gave up, even not. So someone asked him, what gave you the, remember, this is in real Russia. He says, when I was a kid, you're going back to as a kid, he says, a man came to the town, he was taking a string from one edge to another edge, and he's going on a bike. In a valley. Everyone in town is there, and no one believes that he's going to make it. You understand, he's going on a bike. Once, twice. Then he says, is there anyone here that wants to join me? He says, no one. And the little girl says, you go. He takes her. At the end, of course, she says, this is my father.
He'll never let it fall.
You realize if you are raised like this and you believe, anyway, I forgot the name of this Russian guy. The Russian guy says, I was a kid. After all this time, I came to you. This is the most dangerous thing you ever do, and if you make one mistake, you're finished. He says to him, my rule is I never look forward, I never look down. I'm looking at this second. This is what he told me. Don't look back, don't look ahead. Look at now. Don't look down. Look
Yes.
down. No, but this is what psychology is based on. But here the Torah is telling us, "Vayelchu vayasu bnei Israel kasher tzivah Hashem." If you want to,
Brother, that's where the line "live in the moment" comes from. It
but
says "live in the moment." That's exactly
different.
it. No, but in other words,
It means it's the opposite for stupid decision, but look at Pasuk Lamed.
Basically, you're saying, look at now. Don't forget everything else. Push it all away.
ויהי בחצי הלילה והשם היכה כל בכור בארץ מצרים מבכור פרעה היושב על כיסאו עד בכור השביעי. מה זה בכור פרעה? פרעה didn't die even though he's בכור.
His
Israel.
son died.
עד בכור השביעי אשר בבית הבור.
The servants.
Look carefully now. ויקם פרעה לילה. מה זה ויקם? Look at the Rashi. Rashi says few words here. ויקם פרעה לילה. 3, 4, 5, 6 on the left column. ויקם פרעה ממיתתו. Guys, Moshe delivered 9 for 9.
He's still
This is the night of Makat Bechorot, and the guy wants to say, I mean, whenever you laugh at him, give him credit. The guy, this is it. He's not sitting on a chair, you know, reading a paper, waiting for the news. You want to sleep? Yaakov, I mean, it shows us the highest and the lowest.
Right, that's the
So
key.
it doesn't say he slept, no, to be honest, it doesn't say he slept. It says
He
he
was
went,
lying down.
he was lying down, but lying down means you can't. But look at the pasuk before. ויהי בחצי הלילה, והשם היכה כל בכור מארץ מצרים. מבכור פרעה, we understand. עד בכור השביעי. You know, בכור השביעי בבית הבור. Look at the
The lowest
Rashi.
level, yani.
Look at the Rashi. Rashi says, עד בכור השביעי. בכור השביעי means, if someone was in jail, and he's a בכור, שהיו שמחים לעידם של ישראל. Now, Rashi is bothered, why are they dying? If your father is an Egyptian and you are the Bechor, we are smacking your father by killing you. But this is the Bechor Hashvi. She's saying here, we are here in Brooklyn, people are now in Gaza, Gaza is over now it's the north, yes? Do you feel the pain or not? Are you smeichim le'idam shel Israel? Those who are happy that the Jews are being smacked, are being smacked back.
Punished.
כך אומר רש"י פה. Which means, if you look carefully at us, are we part of this organism called Am Israel or not? I came this morning, and Friday morning when I drive it, I opened this radio station, the son of Hamovadia, answers Chuvot. So normally it's halachic questions. This morning,
Moshe,
I forgot.
Moshe, his Yehudi,
No, he knows how to speak, and he knows Elchima. This morning, a woman says, Shalom, Shmi Kacha, she's from Hebron, listen. Do you mind if I'm talking to the listeners, talking about tens of thousands? Says, my son is one of the captives in Egypt. You can hear, nobody you can hear. She says, his name is Eitan Mor, listen. Yes, what is she calling? Says, we live in Hebron, and since COVID, we didn't have a permanent shul. And strangely enough, on Chodesh Tishrei, my son gave me 1,000 shekels to start a shul. Now that he's a captive, we decided maybe to raise money. Would you mind? He says, say whatever you have to say. Everyone listens, listen. And she says, we are raising money to, but you see that the and she spoke firmly, very clear. I'm sure she had the paper in front of her. But 110 days, her son is in nowhere. You can be depressed and drink and do this and do this. Oh, take it. Take it, try to do something. He was smart enough, of course, to ask her how was he kept. He was a security man. He was not. He says he was by the concert, but because he just graduated the army, he was hired as a security guard, and they okay. She gave. No, but I'm sure it's a perfect example how in times of distress, there are many things we people call him. Last week, a couple asked him this. The guy says, me and my wife are under tremendous stress because of their silence and this and that. We feel inappropriate to go to vacation, but we need it. Should we go or not? This is a tough question. Yeah. He says to them, you definitely go. Definitely go because the children need you, the country needs you. And if more and more people are becoming depressed, the Arabs are winning, regardless of what. But this is the Rashi. It is these people really shayu smeichim leidam sheli. This is people in jail, but they're happy that the Jews are suffering. Of course, it's the exact opposite. Shevet Levi never walked in Egypt. But Hashem says to Abraham, "Yadua teda'ah ki ger yeh zarecha." The answer is that Shevet Levi felt the pain of other people. It's difficult, but at least b'machshava, at least b'maaseh, at least our tefillot, at least. Also, we said, Jimmy, we said yesterday, we have to lower the level of the good jokes that we have on each other, even though this is part of everyone. Have a wonderful Shabbat.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. Good Shabbos.
You're right, of course it's relative. Wow. It's like asking Donald Trump to be
It's only relative.
It's all- of
Anyone
course it's
who wants to change overnight, never. Never.
What's presidential? He wanted to know, what's presidential? What's presidential?
Rabbi
Sunday,
B'ezrat Hashem.
Rabbi Prague, good Shabbos, good Shabbos.
What?
Shabbat shalom. Good Shabbos.
Say goodbye to Rani. Rani is going away for a few days.
on Zoom. I don't know what the schedule is.
Have a good time wherever you go. Ronnie, enjoy, be safe. Come back healthy.
on this.
Yeah,
Look at
yeah,
Elkanai Od.
Yeah,
It says that the Arizal brings down that the reason the Jews went to Egypt was collecting
yeah.
tzitzit. So he said that Moshe Rabbeinu, every time, you're not allowed to, Gemara says you're not allowed to look at the face of a